Hey there, and welcome to the UkeStuff channel, and welcome to this full UkeGuide review of this instrument. This is the Aklot AKC-23 Concert Ukulele, generally available on Amazon, also on eBay for a little bit less. We'll talk about that a little bit later in the video. Now, this instrument has some history on this channel. Early on, Aklot was asking for people to test these, and I wrote and said I'd be happy to test one. And they sent me one for review purposes. And I reviewed that one, and then shortly after reviewing it, Aklot sent out an email saying, you can't tell anyone that we sent you this instrument for review, because the review not only was posted on this channel, or actually my other channel before I created this channel, but I also had it posted on Amazon for review, because that was one of the things, post a video review on Amazon as well. So there was no direction to say anything specifically about the instrument or anything like that, but what was said was you can't say that you were sent it for review, and I felt uncomfortable about that. And then Barry Maz reviewed this on God Ukulele, and then shortly thereafter pulled down his review of it and just talked about the fact that the company was doing something unethical, and he could not ethically post a review of an instrument with the way that they were acting. And that scared me. I was early on in my reviewing days, not 100% sure of how I was going to approach it, all that stuff. So I did leave my video up. You can actually find my original video. I think I'm actually in our travel trailer, because we have a camper. And for a while I was having to record videos in there because the rest of our house was being used for other things. So with that, ultimately, I kept that video, but I removed the one from Amazon. I removed my review from Amazon. So anyway, after that point, I just, kept watching this company and what they did. It's the same company as Kemes and the same company as Horse. They're all under the same company, but, separate sub-companies under the one master company. Anyway, I eventually gave my AKC-23 to my niece, and then I also bought a couple of these to give away to students when they were on a really low price as a fundraiser sort of like reward. And that was kind of a fun thing to do too. And they held up really well, those AKC-23s as well. And this one, ever since I gave it away, this is the first ukulele that I've given away that I really wanted back. So I found one eventually on Goodwill. It has a couple little flaws, I don't know if you can see that, on it, but it's totally fine for me. And along with my other Aklots, I really love my Aklot Bamboo Concert as well, is part of my collection now. And this is one that I won't give away again. And they're still new. You can still buy these new. And even with a couple of the weird idiosyncrasies of this instrument, I still like it a lot and wanted it back. So what we're going to do in this video is we're going to do three things. First of all, we'll look at some subjective categories about this instrument. Then we will look at the specifications of the instrument, and then I'll summarize it and give it a UkeGuide rating out of 5 possible ukuleles. You could also go back and watch my previous review of the previous model of this that I owned. But I wanted to make sure that I reviewed it under the same UkeGuide format that I've been doing for more than 100 ukuleles. Also, if you want to support the channel, there are 3 things you can do. You can like the video, you can subscribe to the channel, and third, you can always buy me a coffee to say thank you for doing this work at buymeacoffee.com/UkeStuff. Almost forgot what I was going to say there. All right, so let's begin with the subjective categories. First of all is cost. They are under $70, which includes a okay gig bag, although Aklot's newer gig bags that they send, for example, with the bamboo model that I have, is so much better. So I'm always going to be watching to see if I can find one of these that's the new bag and just buy that for this and then get rid of that bag, because it's just a lesser quality bag. Does it work? Sure. Does Aklot make a better bag now? Yes. Do they include with this instrument? No. So if you want that gray, better bag that they make, you're going to try to find that separately too. And they also include some other accessories, because this was bought from Goodwill, actually, bid it on Goodwill. Not all the accessories came with it. So it comes with a little Aklot service card, cleaning cloth, extra strings, intro booklet, a felt pick, which is pretty cool. I don't think they used to come with a felt pick. And then what it did not come with is the strap that it normally comes with. Aklot used to have like a checkerboard strap that it came with. That's okay. I've got my own UkeStuff straps when I want to use a strap, and it does have strap buttons on both sides. So altogether, the value here is very good for a solid mahogany top, laminate mahogany, back and sides ukulele for under $70, and you can usually find it a little cheaper on eBay. We'll talk about that when it comes to availability. As for build quality, it's really outstanding. They did a really nice job here for a low amount of money. This comfort edge is the real deal. It is so nice to play on that nice smooth edge. Generally, I mean, there's a little glue on the inside, but the exterior is really, really well put together. Nice looking laminate. It's just all together, it's really, really well built. All right, let's take a look at the inside of the Aklot AKC-23. So there's your label in the back, and going into the back of the ukulele. All right, there you can see that it's a pull-through bridge. They just tie knots in there. Most of the time you can just feed them out backwards. It's not a big deal. You can see it has a very traditional notch curving. You can see that the solid top has some fan bracing in it, which is nice. You can see a little bit of glue mess, but not a lot. You can see the extra bracing on the back, and you can see the quality of the laminate, which is quite good. So that's the lower bout. Let's take a look at the upper bout. All right, going back in, taking a look up at the upper bout here. See if we can move back a little bit. All right, there you can see just a little bit of glue on the kerfing on the inside. There's your neck block. More of the notch kerfing with just a little bit extra glue. You can see the horizontal brace right in front of the camera there. But generally, it's a really clean build with good quality laminate. And that's our quick look at the inside of the Aklot AKC-23 Concert Ukulele. Now, in terms of appearance, it's kind of plain, although it does have a couple of features and also a couple of things that I don't like. And these are the things that I don't like about this instrument, and I wish that they offered one little tweaked from what you've got here. So it does have that little rosette in the front. That's nice. I like that. It does have the Dove logo on the headstock and the Aklot sort of etched in there. Works for me. I'm fine with that. The two things that I'm not a fan of, or three things I'll just say really quickly. First of all is the orangey color. I wish they had other color options or other stains that they used. Second, I've never liked the Dove bridge. Because it gets covered by my hand, you know, I don't worry about it too much, but I'm not a fan. And then third, the side position markers are sort of hard to see in that color. I know that it matches the stain, but yeah, it makes it hard to see. So, but other than that, I really like it. So I like it so much that I bought a new used one, new to me, used version of this to hold on to as well. And you can tell when you buy them used, you're going to get them a discount over even the normal $70 price, which is a great price for this instrument. How about availability? If you want one of these, you can find them both new and used. New, again, great value. Used, even better value. If, you know, they haven't been too beat up by the previous owners. At that low price point, people will kind of sometimes put an instrument like this through its paces because, again, they don't worry too much about the cost because it's not a very, very expensive instrument that they have to really worry about if something happens to, because you can always replace it. At least you still can replace it, which is really nice. Now, in terms of playability, here's the couple of negative aspects about it. The action is very low, very nice. Aklot does a nice job with that. So it's proof that a Chinese company can set up an instrument to be very playable and send it to you. The negatives: it's a 35mm nut with narrow string spacing, and the neck is very C-shaped and thick. And that could all be improved. So I'd love to see like a 36mm nut or even a little bit wider. I'd love to see a little bit wider string spacing, and I'd like to see a little bit flatter profile of the neck. But beyond that, I mean, it's a pretty standard 35 millimeter knot playing experience, which is what you get with most import ukuleles. So the playing experience is pretty good. Now, how about the sound? The sound here is really good, and I think it improves the fluorocarbons. I believe these are still the stock sort of super nail guts, even if they're not super nail guts. I can't remember if they ship with super nail guts or if they're Aklot's own strings, but they're very similar to that. Or like the D'Addario Nile Tech, they're all very similar. So even with these strings, and I don't know how old they are, I don't know when this instrument was built because they don't date stamp it, but even so, it sounds really nice. It's a lot of sustain. There are overtones happening. It's a balanced sound. It's not caught. There are some, it has this mixture of solid and laminate all together. It's just a really pleasing sound. And I remember it sounding even better with fluorocarbon strings. So again, I cannot wait for my reviews to be done with this one so that I can go and then swap out the strings with my probably traditional Martin M600 strings that I'll put on this instrument. So it has good volume. I mean, it's not super loud, but it's loud enough that you'll hear yourself in a group. And it's generally a pretty balanced sound with the stock strings. And, it has a little bit of that low-end laminate carrying on, but it also has some high-end, which only will improve, again, with, I think, fluorocarbon strings. Now, one of the things I do is I let you see what I'm hearing by using the app Tonal Energy Tuner. So what I'm going to do is open that app on my iPad, and I'm going to play the C chord on a GCA instrument into the app Tonal Energy Tuner and let you see what I'm hearing. So here we go. Yeah, overall, a really nicely balanced tone across the board on this instrument. And again, great sound for the value of the instrument. Great sound for the price that you're paying for the instrument. And again, with the only negative really being the actual physical makeup of the instrument with a 35 millimeter nut, narrow string spacing, and a thick neck. So overall, really, really quite good. All right, now that we've talked about the subjective categories, let's do the specifications. It is a concert scale instrument with a measured scale length of 14.875 inches from nut to saddle, so just under 15 inches. Has 18 frets with 14 to the body. It does have side position marker dots, but they are a little bit hard to see with the orangish sort of color. The body style is a traditional double bout. The soundboard is solid mahogany with laminate mahogany back and sides that actually match the front pretty well. The fretboard is supposed to be made out of teakwood, although this one looks a lot more like walnut to me. This one could have been during that time period where companies were using walnut. On a new one, it would be teakwood. And then, of course, it looks like the same wood, and it looks like a walnut to me of the bridge, although again, the website says teakwood. The fretboard is not radius. The nut and saddle are bone, and it is not a compensated saddle. The finish is sort of a nice sheeny satin. It's not a gloss, but it feels really nice in the hand. The overall length is just under 24 inches. It's 23.8125 inches from tip to tail, and it weighs 1 pound, 0.2 ounces, and it is balanced very well. The open geared tuners work very nicely. They're unbranded. I think Aklot makes a big deal on the product page on Amazon about like 18:1 ratio tuners. They work great. They work great. The action at the first fret is only 0.25 millimeters. The action at the 12th fret is 2.25 millimeters. and the nut width is 34.89 millimeters, which is just under 35 millimeters. Now, the space between the strings to the first fret is 8.75 millimeters between each string, which is only 28.46 millimeters G to A. So if you have really large hands, you're probably not going to like playing on this instrument because it's going to feel a little cramped. That's one of the areas that Aklot can improve this instrument. And then the other thing I measure is the depth of the neck at the third fret. So I measure from the top of the strings to the bottom of the neck at the third fret, and that's 21.51 millimeters, and it is a pretty C-shaped, thick, chunky neck. And again, Aklot could style that a little bit differently too, just like so many of the other companies that are importing ukuleles from China. I wish they just had a little bit slightly different neck profile. All right, now that we've talked about the subjective categories and the specifications, let's summarize the instrument and give it a UkeGuide rating. This is the first ukulele that I have bought back after selling or giving away an ukulele because I just missed it. So again, I bought this one off of Goodwill at a discount. You can find them used at a discount, but even new, they're $70 or less, sometimes even much less on sale. They're a heck of a bargain. So if you're looking for a great beginner ukulele to give someone with a solid top, or you're looking for an instrument that you don't have to worry too much about, that you want to take on your travels, and do you like the concert scale? They also have, I believe, a soprano and tenor of this. They also have a version with electronics in it. I've never bought because I don't plug in very often, but ultimately there are a lot of different options of this model, including a 8-string Aklot that is basically the same model as this, just bigger, with 8 strings that I've reviewed on this channel as well. So there's lots of options within sort of this design, and it's an instrument that I really like, so I'm glad to have it back. Now, when this instrument originally came out, some of the marketing sort of efforts of the company were a little misguided, and I think they've backed off of those since that point. Originally, when I was sent one of these way back when to review, and that one again was given to my niece, after I posted reviews, they came back and said, wait, you, and said to a number of us, you can't say that you were given one for review. That's problematic, because if you're sent an instrument to review, you should be able to say, hey, the company sent me this one to review. Ultimately, if you're sent an ukulele to review, you should be able to say, hey, I was sent this one to review. I'm trying to give you an honest opinion, but just be aware that I was sent this one to be reviewed. And again, this one I rebought myself used, so this one was not sent to me. Although I was sent one, and I have been sent other Aklot products in the past as well to review. So just so you're aware of that, I do have a history of the company. Even with those original missteps, I'm okay with the company, and I really love my Bamboo Concert. And again, I loved this one so much that I rebought it. It's the same company as Kamis. It's the same company as Horse, just little sub-companies. And there are only a couple things that I don't like about this instrument. I don't like the color. I don't really like the dove bridge, and I don't like the color of the side position markers. I wish they were white just for visibility's sake. But I love everything else about this instrument. Well, I guess I'm not a big fan of this particular case either, which am looking forward to trying to replace with the gray concert case as well. I also look forward to changing out the strings to fluorocarbon because that's what I like, and that's what I like hearing on this instrument. Now, the score of this one, what score would I give it out of 5 ukuleles? Well, it's not a 5.0 because, again, there's some things I don't like about it, but it's very close. For me, this is a 4.5 out of 5, and it's one of my #1 recommended ukuleles for a beginner, even though it's not a 5.0. And I think that both things can be true. I think it can be really good. I think it can be a great instrument. I think an instrument that you want. And there can be some things you don't like about a particular instrument and still love that instrument. And this is a great example of that. So I'm just glad to have this back. At some point, I'll do a comparison with this and my Bamboo, the 2 concert Aklots that I own, and let you hear them. But yeah, if you're looking for a great ukulele just to use, if you're looking for a great beginner ukulele, you're looking for a great ukulele to travel with, this Aklot AKC-23, highly recommended. Also, just as a whole separate side note, the ones that I gave to my students, I did give with humidifiers. They didn't humidify them. And the tops have withstood the test of time, even in a tough Minnesota winter climate. So that's not a promise. You do need to keep in mind that it is a solid mahogany top and probably should be humidified under 40% relative humidity, and also taken care of above 60% relative humidity. In other words, making sure that it doesn't get too humid because it is a solid top. But again, they've been pretty resilient, and I've been impressed by that as well. All right, thanks so much for joining me for this review of the Aklot AKC-23. I hope you're having a great day, and I'll be back soon with some more Uke stuff for you.